Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome to more oxygen not included in the Super Duper Grouper base. I bet you guys thought this series was done and dusted, didn't ya? No, it's not done yet. There's a few more things I want to accomplish. I've just had a lot of competing priorities for my time IRL. Also, in between videos, I wanted to work on a handful of projects using principles you've already seen so we can move on to some of the new stuff and keep every episode as fresh as possible. This took me a very long time though. Let me give you a rundown on what I did just so you're not missing anything. 1. We dug out all of the slime biomes over here. It took a little bit, wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it did take a while. 2nd, I tamed the 2nd gold volcano. So now we have even more refined gold coming in periodically. That's gonna be nice. I also made some very necessary tweaks to our sleet wheat farm and to our geothermal power plant. Mainly, I was looking at this area over here and saw that the temperature was dropping down to like -3 degrees Celsius and still dropping. And I'm like, oh, that's gonna be a problem. Our pipes are gonna burst. Well, what I ended up doing instead was reworking the aquatuner, just creating a nice little relief valve so I can better control the temperature, effectively creating a minimum threshold, a minimum boundary condition for the temperature of this water tank to guarantee that nothing ever gets too out of control. Basically, the way that this works is pretty straightforward. It takes advantage of the mechanic where water will always attempt to use the inlet if it is allowed to do so. That is to say, it's not blocked up or whatever it's trying to go through isn't turned off. So basically, if the water is a certain temperature, I have it going through a liquid sensor. It's going to tell this aquatuner to turn on. It guarantees the water is going to go through here. But if, for some reason, we need to turn it off, because let's say the temperature of this water already dropped too far, the water won't be able to go through the aquatuner, but it still continues to flow around it. So basically, I just created a bypass. And this allows me to better control the temperature. The exact same thing happens up over here with the sleet wheat farm now. Where'd we go? There we are. Just kind of reworked the liquid shutoff valve so the water doesn't sit here stagnant if it gets too cold, because then it's not actually doing us any good. The body temperature of the sleet wheat was getting too high. So again, if this thing is on, it will try to use it to go up to the aquatuner, but because it's already cold enough, I've turned this off, the water just continues to flow through, so it continues flowing, it keeps the temperature nice and low, everything's looking solid in the sleet wheat farm, and we've been getting a lot of food. I've jumped up to 680,000 kilocalories. That's a lot of food. But that's not even the big thing. The big project I worked on that took the longest time, but I think is going to solve our biggest bottleneck, is a new cooling cycle for metal refineries up over here. Yes, this is my 4th attempt to do so, but I have finally, truly, officially, permanently solved the refined metal crisis, namely steel. I mean, we've already had plenty of refined gold thanks to the volcanoes, but steel is no longer an issue. 2 steam turbines, 3 aquatuners, which is totally overkill, and now we can let 2 metal refineries run pretty much 24/7, and we can always delete the excess heat with no problem. The way this works is exactly what you would expect. We've got some permanently flowing polluted water through here. If it ever gets above a certain temperature because the hot water from the metal refineries has heated up the main water tank, then it goes through a quick little aquatuner, which you can see happening right now. If for some reason after going through the aquatuner once, the water is still too hot, it can run through a 2nd, and then through a 3rd if I need it to, before it then eventually goes back into the heat exchanger down over this way. But every step along the way, to ensure that we don't accidentally freeze the water, I have an outlet, exactly the same principle to what you've already seen down below with the geothermal plant and the sleet wheat farm, so we never overcool the water, and thus I am better able to control this total temperature, and as a result, yep, 2 metal refineries, 24/7, I have no more issues with our refined metal. So, that took a long time, that's why I've been gone so long, I apologize, but now I hope you understand. So what are we working on next? Oh, that's easy. We're heading up toward the surface of the planetoid, man. Let's go ahead and just get a whole load more transit tubes set up over here. I want to make it very easy to get up this direction, if at all possible. We'll need to set up another airlock, and then we need to start doing some, little spacewalking. One fun thing about the vacuum of space, if we ever find ourselves with an excess of a particular gas or some water or whatever, I can literally just pump it and dump it into space. It'll just get sucked out into the void. That's a pretty good way of just deleting things you don't want anymore. But we're not quite at that point anymore. It's also a great way to delete some dupes you don't want anymore, by the way. Just saying, Alpha. Keep that in mind. While we're building that all up, we should also take a look at some other fun things, namely ruins. For example, I see that we have a security door over here. We should probably have someone submit a bioscan and unlock this, see if there's any fun little databanks. There's also a couple really cool little things over here, you know. You may have noticed in the last video, I actually discovered this early, that we have another planetoid sitting right here. There's a second one. Never been there, haven't scanned space yet, but there it is. That's because we happen to discover a teleporter, transmitter, and receiver system. On another planetoid, somewhere out in space, we can actually teleport between planetary bodies. Way more convenient than building up a rocket, I'm not gonna lie. And yet, feels a little bit cheaty, so I haven't used it up to this point. It's just really cool that it's even there in the first place. Let's go ahead and grab these database entries and stuff. I want to get these banks. These are all going to be good. Blah, blah, blah. Grab you. Okay, that's all looking nice. Yep, we're going to be able to use these to get ourselves a fair bit more research. I'm looking for any more ruins. There's some little puzzles and stuff over here. Also a neural vacillator. Could be kind of fun to crack this sucker open, see if we can impart some skills on someone. Yeah, we need to get some databanks. Why do we care about databanks? Answer, because I also, in between videos, finished up pretty much all of the research that I'm able to do or that I would care about. Now we have to move on toward the orange research. And if we can remind myself how we get that, it's with the virtual planetarium over here. You use the databanks and you spit out some more of that orange science. We can do this at least a few times before even going into space if we want to, so maybe we should go ahead and find a virtual planetarium and set this up. I guess I should also point out I did do a bit of work in the shipping world over here. So, like, for example, refined metal just gets dropped off at the main base. Or if we get any fertilizer, we just sweep it up and send it back. Or if I get any coal from the hatches, and Lord knows there's been plenty of that, we go ahead and just send it down to the coal generators. Just little things to save myself a few trips. It's made my life a little bit easier and kind of freed up some more time for my dupes. Anyway, there's that virtual planetarium. Let's get this thing set up with some power like so. And now, if I want to, I'm able to do some research. That's great. What would I want to do? I have no idea. Maybe a small petroleum engine would be good. I mean, it's not like I don't have freaking plenty of petroleum to go around, right? We've got 48 databanks so far. That's all I've got. And until we are willing to go into space, that's all I'm going to get. Nope, never make that 50 now. Okay. There are other things we're going to want at some point. I don't care about pixel packs or beach chairs. But for example, cartographic modules so we can analyze space while we're on a voyage would make some sense at some point. We'll need that. Also some automation signals across planetoids. Those will be helpful eventually. Jetpacks, fun, probably not necessary, but at the very least the large liquid cargo tank could make some sense. We can also start moving towards some radiation with research reactors just to produce loads of rad bolts. And you might say that seems stupid. Why would you want that? Mainly because you can store huge amounts of energy in the form of rad bolts and control that for a lot of science. Also, eventually, you'll unlock the rad bolt propulsion engine, which is kind of like the old Orion engine concept, you know, where you actually use like fissile material to launch a rocket? Yeah, pretty insane. A nuclear-powered rocket. I like the idea. But we're not going to worry about that right now. Cryofuel, liquid hydrogen. Ooh. That could be kind of fun. We'll eventually be able to start launching payloads between planetoids. Yeah. Pressurized forging. Turn rad bolts and power and to crush refined carbon directly into diamonds. Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with all of this, for sure. If you want to get more databanks, though, only way I know how to do that, beyond just, like, exploring the rest of this planetoid, is literally to launch a small satellite into space with a dupe who goes up there and just performs lots of low-gravity research. Works pretty well, but it's going to be a very big pain to set up. What do we find over here, by the way? We cracked this open with the bioscan door, and it looks like there's another neurovacillator. Okay. Also, found a computer desk with some more databanks and a database entry. Okay, that'll be fun. We could have someone go sit over here and possibly get some fun little perks added to their character. My question is, who? Who should get some potentially awesome new skill points? I don't know. Really depends on what you get, to be honest. I kind of wish this thing just told you straight out what it did. All right, so there's the databanks there. We could have, you know something, Foxytrot? I think it's gonna be you. I think we're gonna have Foxytrot go and sit here. And the power of this giant brain in a saline tank is gonna impart its knowledge into Foxy. Yeah, you a little bit concerned? You should be. Whoosh. I mean, the vacillation process is actually done. It's been done for like a minute now. I've just enjoyed watching poor Foxy's face. Okay, fine, we'll complete the neural process. All done, what do you get? Deep diver's lungs. Oh, cool, your air consumption rate has dropped dramatically. Fun, and that's it. The brain has shrunk up. It is basically dead. It imparted its knowledge and skills, and we're done. I mean, I guess we could recharge this thing. No charges left. How do you actually recharge these? I didn't know that was a thing. Well, anyway, so yeah, that's just something to look forward to. I mean, it's the only way that I know how to get like some of the extra good traits, right? But you never know what you're gonna get, so it's always a bit of a gamble. How are we doing on morale, by the way? Pretty darn well these days. The extra food seems to have helped a fair bit. Oh yeah, we can give people a lot more skill points if we want to. Beautiful. Okay, letting things run just a little bit. It does appear that we have now got kind of what I need for an airlock. We're really close to getting into space, but you might be wondering how the heck are we going to do that without creating a big vacuum? Honestly, I don't totally know. I'm just going with what I've read and praying that people haven't been misleading me this whole time. So I still want to create a liquid lock to kind of keep the atmosphere inside of our planetoid. Otherwise, we are literally going to vent our entire base into space, and that would kind of be game over now, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd be a very funny ending, but I don't think that's the ending you guys are looking for. What I'm gonna set up is some drywall over here, and I think that the way this is supposed to work is it doesn't treat any of this as a vacuum. So in theory, the liquid I place here won't just get sucked out into the void, I think. I'm gonna set down some petroleum in this area just because in case things get really cold or really hot, if we have a meteor strike and it hits a very unfortunate position, the petroleum is gonna be in the best position to actually deal with the sudden change in temperature. Yes, it means that in order to get into space, my dupes have to first bathe themselves in a load of petroleum, but what of it? The awesome thing is having so many dupes without a ton to do means we actually build this stuff out really, really fast. These guys are all bent to a single purpose right now, which is just outstanding for me. Can we please get this last little bit of drywall set up? I mean, I would feel really stupid if this for some reason just disappeared. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure we wall off this area. Just in case I make a mistake, our atmosphere doesn't vent out of the base and get sucked into the void of space. Also, I want to prevent people from going out this direction without an exosuit, just in case they get sucked into the void of space. I mean, if you guys can't tell, I'm a little bit concerned about the suckage. Space is an awful, horrible place, and no one should ever go there. And yet, here we are. Okay, at this point, here goes nothing, right? Let's go ahead and start digging out into space, get through all this regolith. Actually, I'd really like to mine most of this out of the way, clearing things down to the abyssalite so I have a bit more room to work. What is regolith? Basically just space rock. There are meteors and stuff that will occasionally fly down and just smash everything in sight. I'm very worried about that too. Again, I said, space is a horrible, horrible place, but if we can clear some of this stuff out and maybe build up some bunkers, I don't know, that'll be fine. The first thing we need to do, and probably the top priority for this video, is to start exploring space, if at all possible. I mean, I'd love to also build up a science rocket, but that may take a little bit more work. Also, I don't really know how to build a rocket. This is kind of getting beyond what I've ever done in Oxygen Not Included, but I can do some reading for sure. At least I have an idea what I'm supposed to do. It's just a matter of, you know, actually making it happen. So, we're going to be clearing this area out, trying to make some space for basically a rocket landing pad, and also see if we can explore these stars around us, looking for more planetary bodies. If we take a look at the planetary map, this is the planetoid that was already discovered with the teleporter system, but there are some other unknown objects, and we can gradually start revealing the area around our planetoid. That's my goal. Oh, and before I forget, something I need to do is set up an oxalite refinery down over, I guess over here is fine. It's as good as anywhere else anyway. Why do we need this? What is oxalite, you might ask? Well, you've seen it before. It's this stuff right here that turns into oxygen when it has been exposed, right? And you're like, well, why do you want crystallized oxygen? You've already got the gas. Yes, but when you have a rocket, you know something that's really convenient? Nice, compact, crystallized oxygen flooding into your rocket so you don't need to have a giant gas tank in order to keep your people alive. It's a pretty helpful way to go. Gosh dang it, Regolith, you guys are as soft as sand. Get out of my way or my person's gonna die. Shadow, if you're the first person to die in space, I mean, I'll be sad, but I'm also gonna laugh. And that is space, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure I just saw a teeny bit of atmosphere vent out. You can see it here, barely. And there, off it goes. Okay, sucked out into the void. Are we losing anything down here? No, seems like we are completely fine. Huzzah! People did not lead me wrong. The drywall plus the liquid lock totally works. We are safe from the clutches of the void. What on earth is... Red Velvet Kitty decided to spacewalk just to go grab some meat. Oh, wow. There's a lot of it here. That's 12,258 kilocalories. It's kind of a lot. Anyway, okay. Yeah, sure. Meat that never spoils because it's vacuum sealed for your convenience. Anyway, we probably don't want people spending too much time out here in space unless we need it. I mean, I'm trying to clear some space over here for sure, but let's keep in mind that space is a bit dangerous. There's radiation all over the place over here, and it can definitely get some people killed. It is a barely safe level of rads per cycle. Once you get up to 100 rads per cycle here, it's pretty darn dangerous. So, we'll need to get some sort of radiation shielding. I'm also doing some research for radiation protection in case we decide that a lead suit would make some sense. I assume it still manages to preserve oxygen so we can send people out here safely, but you know, I'd hate to find out that I'm wrong. It's also a shovel. Let's not forget these things exist. Yeah. Apparently these guys actually make for tremendously good food, because they'll eat pretty much anything, including all the regolith. So if you just get a bunch of them, like, trapped somehow, and let them just keep eating regolith, you can get a ridiculous amount of food if you farm these guys up. But I'll be honest, I don't think I want to eat a little space bull. That sounds disgusting. Is our Oxalite Forge working? Seems to be. I don't think it actually requires anyone sitting here, which is interesting. But yeah, you send a bunch of oxygen over here, plus a little bit of gold, and sure enough, it just dropped out some oxygen. Okay. It is not emitting any due to the overpressuring of the area, which is a good thing. I don't want my Oxalite to then just immediately relieve itself. That wouldn't do me any good. But we probably don't want to make too much of this stuff until I have a good sense for what I need. Otherwise, we're just going to use up, like, all of my oxygen. So I'll send what I've got down over here, but otherwise, go ahead and stop. At least we have the ability to make this if I need it. Holy crud! Shadow, what are you doing? How did you even get down here? I swear, it wasn't supposed to be prophetic. Get back into the safety of an atmosphere. You idiot! What are you doing? Did we run out of suits down here? Oh, good lord, we did. Get the frick back! Gosh, dang. How do I make it so that if you do not have a suit, you are simply not allowed to go this way? God, that's the point of an atmosuit checkpoint. What is wrong with you? Oh, better question. What is wrong with me? Clearance always permitted. No. If we don't have an Atmos suit, I don't want you going through here. Hello? Anyway, okay, so at the moment, we've at least managed to clear enough space out that I could set up a telescope and try to discover what is around me. So, where's a telescope? I know I've discovered that somewhere. Ah, it's under the rocketry section. Well, that would make sense. All right, so a telescope right over here would allow us to explore anything directly above us. If we have our view obscured in some way, we're going to get a little bit less impact, you know? We're just going to have some reduced speed. I'm not worried about that right now. For the moment, I'm happy to just have a simple telescope set up over here. How much power is this thing going to require? 120 watts. That's not too bad. We should be able to power that sucker up. I just need to get a quick little power transformer. Okay, we have a telescope, and actually, Red Velvet Kitty has taken it upon herself to go ahead and jump into this and take a look-see. Okay, so as long as we have a duplicate with the correct astronomy skill, we should be able to make use of that. Gosh, I've got so many dupes in here now, don't I? Wow, anyway. Yeah, there's the astronomy skill. We got that a while ago. No problem whatsoever. Want to get the exosuit training, but not quite enough morale anyway. So we can now start using this and performing some science. As this progress bar goes up, we should see that, yes, we are exploring some empty space tiles. So there it is. Now, I think there's a limit to how far you're able to see with a simple telescope. At some point, what you would need to do is build up a special research rocket, launch it off into space with a telescope built into it, and you can observe a lot of stuff in a path on the way back to, in this case, Vivano, as the name of my planetoid. But this at least will reveal some stuff. It's usually enough to reveal at least one or two other planetoids. So I'd like to find out what these unknown objects are and stuff, you know? That's just gonna take some time, though. In the meantime, Red Velvet Kitty, please don't get irradiated all heck. That would be very, very sad. And in the meantime, while Velvet Kitty is doing that, I should think through where I'm gonna place down a rocket. So the first thing I know you're gonna need is... Please tell me I have access to it. Rocket platform. There it is. All right, this is where you build your rocket so you can launch it into the space. So I'm gonna need at least one, maybe even two of these dang things. Preferably separated into separate tubes, though, so I can have bunkers protecting it and also keep the oxygen flow so I don't have to worry about things. Oh boy, I don't know. Let's say for now I'm happy with having a rocket platform right along here. And up it goes. Okay, we have a rocket platform, ladies and gentlemen. The new thing you would do is start designing a rocket, and this is where you're gonna have lots of different modules. Because we like modular rockets where I come from. All right, so we could pack it up with a load of carbon dioxide. I love that it's just a giant bottle rocket, by the way. I think that's hilarious. And launch this thing, but it's not a very effective type of engine, so I'd rather avoid that. Sugar is also an option, which is where these Sweetles over here actually come into play. If we had farmed these guys up and fed them properly and got a load of sugar, you could use that for an early game engine, but we avoided that. Now, we're going for the petroleum engine. That makes some sense. Now, the problem with the petroleum engine is it has a lot of height to it. Height, huh? Right, that's because your rockets can only be so tall before they can't do anything else. So we have to be careful about what we put on this thing. Okay, let's try building it out of lead. So that's the first segment. That has to now get built before we can add more onto it. Actually, better yet, I need to get rid of some of these dang ladders. In fact, knowing that this thing is going to end up being very tall, what I should probably do is also set up a nice big tube with ladders on every side, so I'm able to get up in here and actually build parts of the rocket. How tall can a rocket be? I do not remember, but I'm sure we're gonna find out. Whoa, whoa, okay, hang on. Building out the engine just made a whole load of awesome scaffolding appear. Okay, now I know how tall we can make this rocket. Got it, cool, okay. So we need to get some more of these ladders out of the way, but it does look like we have a lot more space to go. Oh, wait, no, we don't need those simple little, we don't need a simple little liquid storage tank. That's not gonna cut it for me. What we needed was a large liquid fuel tank. That's the one I wanted. Oh, whoops. I had accidentally left one yellow research left here under advanced caffeination. Now that we've got this, we can actually set up the storage we're going to need to launch a petroleum engine. Okay, I'd like to think that this is going to be a pretty good base for us. Let's add on probably a solar power module using some of the glass I've already got. Let's add on a battery module made from, not steel. I guess we can make it out of gold or iron. I don't really care too much. We'll just do iron since I got plenty of that to go around. Actually, nah, fine, gold, whatever, I don't care. Anyway, so we get that. And then if all I need after that is a solo spacefarer module, like, that's it, right? This is a rocket. Okay, so in theory, that's good. Now, there is a bit more to building a rocket than just this. We've got the exterior, right? We've got the outer mold line, the OML. What we don't have is any sort of an interior, and we can take a look at that. So this now is the interior of our nose cone. And we can build around it in order to, I don't know, do stuff. Now, here's one thing I'm worried about. One of the big reasons I want to go here and use space is so I can get the databanks, right? For that to work, I need, what is it, an orbital data collection lab. We can technically fit it, yeah. Not a lot of space to be building out everything else we're gonna need, like, I don't know, maybe getting some food and some oxygen and other stuff in here, but if I can find a way to just get some gosh dang orbital data collection, that's good enough for my first rocket. You know, I suppose there actually is something I can do that kind of cheats this a little bit, but what we could do is deconstruct this sucker and actually place it up here. Bring along some spare plastic and metal so that once I'm in space and we don't need to control the rocket, I can dismantle it, build up a data area, and do a bunch of research. Then when I'm ready to go back home, dismantle that and replace it with a rocket control station. That would be one way to save up a little bit of much-needed space, wouldn't it? Oh, here's something I didn't even notice that I had. A wall toilet? Oh, that's very convenient, actually. Hang on. Okay. Oh, yeah, you can just toss this into the side of a rocket. Oh, that's super convenient. Me likey. Beautiful. Oh, wow. Okay, hang on. Someone just hopped inside. Who did that? Oh, Foxy Trot's hopping in here already. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So with that done, then yeah, let's go ahead and move you over this way. Build it out of, I don't really care, gold amalgam should be fine. We'll drop that off. Okay, so that buys me some much needed space, because now what I should be able to do is get, let's say, a ladder bed so that we're able to easily get up over here. We'll toss on a quick ladder if that's helpful. I guess it doesn't matter, but whatever. And this still leaves me with enough space to place down, let's say, a storage bin over here so we can store some food, some oxalite, and also the materials necessary in order to build up the data bank. And now I've got a little bit of extra space to work with. You can tell that space is kind of at a premium in this thing. Yeah, I think this is basically what I'm going to go with over here. It's not a lot of storage, but I'm wondering if maybe I can provoke my duplicants to bring a lot of materials here and then just dump it on the ground like we have back in the main base. I mean, if that works, and I can have a whole load of stuff just sitting here with basically no storage, like, there's no downside as far as I can tell. Now, there are a few more things we'll need to get done over here. So we do need to have some liquid intake and start pumping in a load of petroleum. How much can we actually store in this thing, out of curiosity? Does it say? Not from right here, but presumably a lot. Oh, well, no, that's just total mass. No, it's here somewhere, I'm sure. But basically, my point is we need to get ourselves a load of petroleum dumped in here, which shouldn't be a problem, honestly, because, well, we should be having ridiculous amounts of petroleum just sitting here waiting for this exact purpose. Oh, and there's something else that's usually recommended. It's recommended to create kind of this weird, elaborate system of pipes, because it's the only way to actually get some level of storage inside of your pod here. You could have like an actual liquid storage tank, but like what you could do instead is something stupid like this, right? And then have several kilograms worth of liquid just sitting around in the pipes, functioning kind of like a de facto storage. Maybe something kind of like this. I mean, it's extremely stupid, I'll give you that, but I mean, if it works, my point is I want to have a lot of water sitting in the pipes over here so that we actually can use the toilets, you know? It'd be really a shame to have this thing in here and then you can't actually make use of it. So at this point, I think the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start setting up a load of piping all the way back up to the base. And this is going to take a while, unfortunately. Very, very easy to build. Just, you know, there's kind of a lot of it. Like a lot of it. So yeah, piping is going to take a little bit. But the idea is to create one big pipeline where I can store some petroleum in these reservoirs, or also break off some connections and repurpose this to quickly drop off some water over here if needed. Still hoping to find a good pilot someday. I'm looking for someone who's really good at piloting and has, ideally, the starry-eyed trait, which I'm pretty sure greatly increases morale if they're in space, which means they can stay up there for a lot longer before having some problems. It's pretty nice. I'd also love to have a high science skill or operating skill or something along those lines. But so far, absolutely no luck with the pilot that I think is worthy of our rocket. Viola, did you seriously just come in here? Hold on. Did you seriously just come over to the rocket to use the bathroom? How freaking dare you? I will have you know this is an incredible machine we're building here. It is not your freaking personal outhouse. Scratch is doing the same thing. What is wrong with you people? Ugh, whatever. The good news is, we're still in a vacuum, so we're not dumping polluted water over here. It's getting sucked right out into space. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is everything set and ready to go. I've got a couple hundred kilograms of oxalite, 4,000 kilograms of plastic. I've got gold amalgam in case we need to rebuild our rocket control station, plus the copper left over, plus whatever I dismantle over there. I've got plenty of water in here. I've got some oxygen ready to go. The oxalite will definitely take me the rest of the way. If I need to, it is certainly possible to dismantle the mess table and the gas vent and build a mini gas pump if I need to get rid of some carbon dioxide, so we're fine there. I can go to the bathroom, I can wash my hands, I can go to sleep, I have decorations, and plenty of space for everything else I need. Not to mention a few spare cables, just in case I need some lead or to rearrange my power. I think that's about as ready as we can get for the rocket. It should be looking pretty good. The only thing left to do at this point is going to be to fuel this puppy up.
and be ready to go. But I think I'm going to save that for the next video. I know, you want me to go to space like right now. I get it, but that also just draws you into the next episode. See how this works? It's kind of good for me. Anyway, I also need just a chance to kind of go through this a bit more. Maybe see some comments from you guys when you tell me I'm doing this horribly wrong. I don't know. In the future, we're not going to have to be nearly this cramped. I just want to see if I can find a way to make this work with a solo spacefarer, and then in the future, we'll build out a larger module that lets us carry a lot more stuff into space. But for now, I feel like there's actually a very good chance that this is going to work. So thank you all very much for watching, and once again, thank you for your patience and waiting for this episode. Be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.